My wife said she was just helping a friend move, but she left out one huge detail. I've always believed that the worst betrayals don't start with a slap to the face. They start with a smile, a soft voice, and a perfectly reasonable excuse. My name's Tyler, I'm 35, and I thought I had a pretty solid life. My wife, Hannah, and I had been married for almost 6 years. She's 32, works in real estate, and is the kind of person everyone loves instantly. Warm, sharp, always knowing exactly what to say to make people feel comfortable. I run a small auto repair business in town. Nothing fancy, but we do well enough. We own a home, 2 cars, and had just started talking about kids. Life felt steady, until it didn't. It started one Thursday night. Hannah casually mentioned that she was going to spend the weekend helping her friend Denise move into a new apartment. They were old college friends, and Denise had apparently just gone through a breakup. She needed help with the emotional support and the heavy lifting, or so Hannah said. It didn't seem suspicious. Hannah had stayed with Denise before, sleepovers, spa nights, girls' weekends. No red flags. But there was something different in her tone this time, a kind of rehearsed smoothness that made my gut twist just slightly. I wasn't the type to snoop. I wasn't insecure. But sometimes, your body notices what your brain doesn't want to admit. The next morning, she packed up her overnight bag. A little too much perfume. A little more effort in her outfit for a weekend of moving boxes. I said nothing. Just smiled, kissed her goodbye, and told her to drive safe. But the second the door closed, I felt cold. Something was off. I sat in silence for about 10 minutes, trying to shake the unease. I told myself I was crazy, paranoid, that I needed to trust her, that she had never given me a reason not to. But my gut wouldn't shut up. By noon the next day, I caved. Denise lived about 30 minutes away, and I had a customer in that direction anyway. I figured I'd just drive past, not stop, not interfere. Just Lou. I pulled up to the apartment complex and parked across the street. No Denise in sight, but there was Hannah, wearing tight leggings and a cropped, standing outside a different building entirely. And next to her was a man I didn't recognize. He was tall, athletic, probably late 30s, handsome in a clean-cut kind of way, and Hannah was laughing, flirting, touching his arm. They weren't moving boxes. They weren't even trying to pretend. Then I saw her hand go to his chest and stay there. I couldn't breathe. I felt like I was watching someone else's life collapse. My hands were shaking so hard I had to grip the steering wheel just to stay still. That night, I didn't say anything. I didn't confront her when she came home and said, "God, Denise is such a mess. Her ex left her so much stuff to throw out." She even brought back a fake story about how they ordered pizza and cried over wine. I nodded. I smiled. But I wasn't listening. Because I already had a plan. I spent that night pretending everything was fine. I acted like a man who didn't just watch his wife lie straight to his face. I let her curl up next to me in bed and tell me about Denise's ugly breakup. I let her kiss me goodnight. And the next morning, I got to work. First thing I did was call Denise. We weren't close, but we'd had dinner together a few times over the years. Enough that I could be friendly without it being weird. She didn't pick up. Maybe Hannah warned her, but I wasn't going to push it. I had something better than guesses. I had time, and I had access. See, I'd installed cameras outside our house a year ago after a neighbor had their car broken into. Hannah knew about them, but she never really paid attention to where they were aimed. One of them was angled toward the driveway and caught the back of her car every time she left or came home. I pulled the footage from the night she claimed to be heading to Denise's. And guess what? She never went there. She drove in the opposite direction, toward the lake, where people rent cabins. I recognized the route immediately because we used to go there ourselves. It was our getaway spot once upon a time. I did some digging and called in a favor from a buddy who works at a property management company that oversees rentals in that area. Told him I was planning a surprise for my wife and asked if any cabins had been rented under her name. He hesitated, then gave me a name I didn't recognize, Brandon Keller. But the reservation had 2 guests. And the contact number? Hannah's cell. That was all I needed. I didn't tell anyone, didn't yell, didn't rage. I just waited. On Sunday afternoon, Hannah came home looking relaxed. She said Denise was doing a bit better and thanked me for being understanding. She even brought back some cookies, said they'd baked together. I took one, ate it, smiled, told her she looked beautiful. Then, on Monday, I took the day off work. I drove straight to the cabin, and when I got there, I took photos. Wine glasses, a second toothbrush, a used towel, monogrammed with BK. I didn't confront her that day. Not yet. I wanted to hit harder. I started gathering everything. Screenshots from our security footage. Photos from the cabin. I even followed Brandon on social media and found his LinkedIn. Turns out he was a personal trainer. Private mobile sessions. Probably how they met. And then I found it. The revenge I knew would sting most. They'd taken pictures together. At the lake. Just 1 or 2, but they were there. She never posted them, but he did. Just their hands holding coffee mugs on the cabin deck. A small detail most people wouldn't notice, but I knew that ring on her finger. I knew that nail polish. That was my wife. And now I had proof. I printed everything. The cabin receipt. The screenshots. The photo from Brandon's profile with her hand in plain sight. I placed it all in a neat envelope and wrote her name across the front. That evening, when Hannah came home from work, I had dinner waiting. Her favorite lemon herb chicken with roasted potatoes. She smiled, kissed me on the cheek and said, "You're too good to me." I smiled back and said, "Actually, I've been thinking a lot about that lately." She paused mid-bite. "Thinking about what?" "How good I've been," I said, and slid the envelope across the table. She stared at it, didn't touch it. "What's this?" she asked, voice suddenly tight. "Open it." Her hands were shaking by the time she unfolded the papers. She didn't even make it halfway through before she started crying. "I can explain," she said. "It was just once." "Really?" I asked, leaning back. "Because that receipt says 3 nights, and the photos say you were pretty comfortable." She couldn't deny it. There was too much, and I didn't let her spiral into half-hearted excuses. I told her I wasn't going to yell. I wasn't going to beg for answers. I already knew everything I needed to know. Then I stood up, walked to the closet, and pulled out a second envelope. "What's that?" she asked, voice barely above a whisper. "Divorce papers," I said. "Already drafted. I just need your signature." She broke down. She begged me not to do this, said it was a mistake, that she still loved me, that Brandon meant nothing. She went through every stage, denial, bargaining, desperation, but none of it moved me. I had spent the past week grieving already. She was still trying to lie her way out of something that was obvious from a mile away. And I wasn't going to give her the satisfaction of dragging me through more dishonesty. I told her to pack her things and stay with Denise, for real this time. She asked if we could talk again later, after I'd calmed down. I said no. You made your decision when you chose a weekend with him over the life we built together. As she packed, I watched in silence. Then I added the final blow. I contacted Brandon's gym, I said, told them what he was doing on company time. Turns out, the cabin getaway was booked using his client travel stipend. They're investigating him for fraud. She stopped. "Why would you do that?" "Because actions have consequences. For both of you." She left that night. I haven't spoken to her since. The silence after she left was deafening. It wasn't the kind of silence that comforts you. It was the kind that sits on your chest and makes every hour feel like a question with no answer. I walked around the house seeing pieces of her everywhere. Her coffee mug still by the sink. A sweatshirt she forgot on the back of the chair. The scent of her perfume lingering in our bedroom. But strangely, I wasn't heartbroken. I wasn't destroyed. I was done. I didn't go to therapy. I didn't vent to friends. I didn't blast her online or tell the whole world she cheated. I just cleaned the house, took Max for long walks, played guitar again, slept better. The divorce went through fast. She didn't fight it. I think deep down, she knew she'd lost me long before I found that cabin. As for Brandon, he lost his job. Apparently, I wasn't the first client spouse he got involved with, but I was the first one who brought receipts. He disappeared from social media within a week. I didn't do it out of revenge, not really. I just didn't want him doing this to someone else. Some other guy who trusted his wife. Some other man trying to build something real. Hannah tried to call me once. Just once. A few weeks later. I didn't answer. She left a voicemail saying she missed me. That she hated what she'd done. That she thought about me every day. I deleted it without listening to the end. I wasn't interested in apologies, or guilt, or second chances. What I wanted, what I needed, was peace. And for the first time in a long time, I had it. Now when people ask me what happened, I just tell them this. She went on a trip. I stayed home. And that was the end. Sometimes, the cleanest cuts are the ones you make when you stop asking why, and start acting like you deserve better. If you were in my shoes, would you have confronted her earlier, or waited like I did?